very much a cat person, and my cat got out of the house exactly once, and he was very happy to see me when I finally found him. And so I'm very interested in learning what happens.
Yeah,
So I
well,
will
thanks.
turn it over.
Perfect. Well, thank you for that introduction, Brandon. And I do want to say I did hear a little bit about that. Your cat is named Snoopy, I think I heard, which is
Yes.
super cute. Okay, so I'll just share my screen. Oh, I need to start from the beginning. There we go. Okay, so like Brandon was saying, I'm studying outdoor cats. And so cats have this really mysterious life when they're outside because we don't really know what they're doing. So I do get to put cameras on them and get a better idea. And so just to start, just to give a little bit of background about myself, I love animals, as I'm sure many of you do. And I spent a lot of time working in wildlife rehabilitation centers. So I've included some really fun pictures of a lot of the animals I've gotten to work with. And of course, now I study cats. And so I just wanted to start. I don't know if we can annotate, but I just want you guys to think about a pet that you might have. And if anyone feels free to answer, you can let me know what kind of pets you have, of course. But the most popular pet in Canada actually is cats. And while most Canadians aren't actually putting their cat outside, everyone probably does think, what is my pet doing when, nobody is watching? And so I personally have a pet toad, but my two brothers have cats, and one of them is an outdoor cat, Buddy. He's an outdoor indoor, so he mostly spends his time inside, but he does also spend a lot of time roaming outside. And my other's brother cat is an indoor cat, Orange. And so he spends all of his time inside playing around with toys and a lot of time napping. So they have very different lifestyles. And a lot of owners choose to put their cat outside for a variety of reasons. And so we're just going to explore that a little bit. So we understand there are some benefits of that outdoor world. So cats are getting to use their natural instincts when they're climbing those trees, when they're interacting with other cats outside, when they're hunting. So owners don't have to worry about keeping their cat engaged inside. It's reducing boredom. And of course, they're getting a lot of exercise when they're out there. A lot of studies have shown that outdoor cats tend to have lower obesity rates. And so this can also go hand in hand with diseases that come with being obese or overweight. But we also have to recognize that there's a lot of risks with the outdoor lifestyle as well. So cats can ingest harmful substances to them. A lot of cats are eating what's not left out by the owners. So this can be garbage. There are cases where people have left poison out on purpose for cats. There's also the fact that a lot of cats are eating grass, which isn't inherently harmful to them. But of course, if people are treating their grass with different chemicals or substances, or perhaps a cat eats a plant that is toxic for them. There's also the major risks of predation events or being attacked by other animals. And most commonly, we think of coyotes for this. There's also a lot of diseases that cats can get while they're outside, which can be spread to the owner's house. It can be spread to neighbors' houses if they're going to visit. It can be spread to other cats. It can even be spread to wildlife or livestock if cats are nearby farms. And of course, we know that cats can be hit by cars, or they like to really just sit
Sorry,
under
Marlee,
cars.
I'm going to interrupt you. Are you sharing a screen because we can't see it? Are
Really?
you sharing? Yeah, are you sharing a presentation right now?
I was sharing a presentation this whole time.
Okay. Yeah. Um,
No.
can you can you share screen? You should be able
Yes.
to.
I I hit share screen, so I thought that it had gone. I guess I should have asked, can you see my screen? Okay, let me try this again. Okay.
Now we can see your screen.
Right. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I wanted to share some fun pictures of the wildlife I worked with. And of course, if anybody had pets, but cats are the most common. These are my two brothers' cats, Buddy, the outdoor cat, Orange, the indoor cat. And then just talking again about, we do recognize that there are benefits of an outdoor lifestyle and the cons of the outdoor lifestyle. So talking about how they can eat a harmful substance, be attacked by a predator, acquire a disease, or be hit by a vehicle. And so we do see a lot of the time, like I was trying to say, cats spend a lot of time laying underneath of vehicles, which can be quite dangerous if somebody doesn't check before they drive. Or in the winter, if they're trying to look for warmth, or in a cold summer night, they may end up crawling into an engine bay. And so we can really picture when cats are outside, the cat in the corner here in this house is in its safe protective bubble, but when you're outside and in the natural world, of course, you're going to interact with all of what is out there. And you can imagine that one cat, if they're not spayed or neutered, they can reproduce pretty quickly. And you can actually go from having one cat to 36 in the span of less than 2 years. And so all of these kittens are at risk for all of the same things. And of course, we know that they can all hunt wildlife. So cats do pose a threat to what is out there. And we actually know that the numbers are quite large. And in Canada, it's estimated that they hunt about 100 to 350 million birds every year. But you can also see that this is a really large range in this number. And so it's pretty alarming, but it also shows that there's quite a bit of information we don't know yet. And this is because a lot of the information right now is coming from what's found in cat stomachs or what's found in their poop, or it's what owners are reporting that their cats are bringing home. But we know that not everything is being eaten by cats that they're hunting, and they're not bringing everything home. So you're not getting that whole picture. And this is where the cat cams really come in play. And so you can see they are quite small. There's a picture of my hand holding it, just fits in the palm. They weigh about 70 grams. You can see in the bottom left corner, one of our participants, Philly, he's wearing it. It just sits under the chin. The cameras have nocturnal vision, so we can see at night. We can see when it's raining out, and it actually takes photos, not videos. We have to stitch together photos at the end. But this is so we don't have audio playing. We don't want to hear what owners might be saying in their house if a cat goes inside. And we really want the cameras to just turn on when the cat is moving. So they're motion activated. And this is really to prevent any cats from sleeping on the job, because most of the cats are napping a lot of the time that they're out there. So the cameras just shut off. And so I'll show you a little video clip of what it actually can look like. And so this is what a highlight reel might look like that we create for the owners. So you can see he's just wandering around the neighbor's yard. This is him sitting underneath of a vehicle. There's a predation event, drinking from a puddle, and interacting with a neighborhood cat. Oop. And so here's just a cat's eye view of the risks from our camera. So this is what risks look like from the cat's point of view. And so that first clip in the picture there, we see a cat is just about to cross a road. And this one did actually look both ways before crossing, which is pretty fascinating. In this picture here, we can see a cat exploring a construction site, and it actually goes under a heavy piece of equipment, machinery, and that arrow is pointing to a danger sign that the cat's looking at. Next to it is a cat that was eating some garbage just found in a random driveway. And at the end there, we have a cat encountering another cat. So we've seen some friendly interactions with neighborhood cats, and this one wasn't super friendly, but it didn't escalate into a fight, although we have seen some footage of fights. And there's also just other interactions with wildlife. And so this scribble in the corner, just pay attention, that is the head and that is the body of a raccoon. So hopefully you can see that. And so this cat was actually watching a young raccoon just climb down a tree. In the middle here, we have a cat that stumbled into a neighbor's yard that had an injured groundhog in it, which was pretty cool because the neighbors were actually trying to blame the cat for the injury, but our cameras proved that the cat found the groundhog already injured. And then at the last picture here, we have a cat that was investigating a toad that it had found in a pile of leaves. And then, of course, we get cats hunting animals. And so the first one, we have a cat eating a moth. And then in the middle there, we have a shrew, a bird, and a cottontail rabbit. And so only one of these was actually returned to the owner because the moth was eaten. That shrew was returned home. The robin was actually given to another cat. The owner thinks that it was his girlfriend and it could have been a present. And the baby cottontail was also eaten. And we can see that there's a really cool, we have GPSs on the back of the cameras. And so it's really cool how much each cat has this variety of where they're actually going. And you can kind of think of your own daily habits. You know, some people are spending a lot of their time at work or their favorite restaurants, and cats have this similar pattern. They have their favorite spots to go. And we can see that in our heat map in red. That's where they're spending most of their time. And the green or blue is just, you know, not going there super frequently. So you can see this cat spends a lot of time at home, but then just around the neighborhood, where this cat spends a lot of time at home and in this green space, but then it also has this one familiar spot that it goes to all the time. And so you can see that home range changes a lot. We have a cat that goes very far across the city. We can have some cats that are quite the homebodies and are barely leaving their yards. And we even have some that were overlapping. And so some of these cats, we don't have the footage for them looked at yet, but they had a camera on all at the same time. So it'll be really interesting to see if they were interacting with each other while they were out there. Another huge part of this study is looking at what can change the cat's behavior when they're out there. So, you know, what is going to influence the risks that it's taking, if it's crossing a road more, if it's living in a city, is it hunting more if it's living in a rural area, is the age of the cat going to impact it, the season, I'm sure as well, you know, even thinking about what is out there in the winter compared to the summer, there's a lot more species for a cat to maybe hunt. And are male cats traveling further? Are they taking more risks? Or are the girl cats doing that? Night versus day, the weight of the cat. So if a cat is overweight, maybe they're not hunting as well as a cat that is in really good shape. And maybe those are the cats that aren't really leaving their yards. And we also look at cat personality. So cats, just like us, have their own personality. And similar to psychology, the big five of personality, we have the feline five. And so based on actual research, we do give owners these surveys that they fill in based on characteristics of what their cats are like. And we compose a personality score for every individual cat. And there's also a lot of alternatives that I just want to talk about as well. So we understand, you know, that some cats don't want to be inside, and hopefully our research can help make an outdoor living space on the inside. So even thinking based on a cat's personality and how far they're traveling. Maybe that can help an owner create an indoor living space catered to their exact cat's need. There's also Patios. I'm not sure if anyone's heard of them, but they're these really cool cat patios that a lot of people can build, and they can be extravagant or they can be just attached to a windowsill. Even just having a bed on the edge of your window. And Jackson Galaxy, I'm sure some of you might have heard of him from My Cat from Hell. He calls that a cat TV when you set up a spot in front of the window for your cat so they can still see everything that's going on out there. And there's also leash training that's been really popular recently to make adventure cats. And of course, just spending a little bit of extra playtime inside can really help alleviate that boredom, and they can still use those hunting instincts. And we really just want to do this research to get that holistic view of the risks that cats are facing and what they're hunting, because we want to help wildlife, but we also want to help the cats and we want to help owners. We're working with a lot of stakeholders. A lot of people care about cats, and that's the research. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions about that.
Hi, thank you very much. We actually do have a few questions. I am one of those people who trained his cat to a leash.
Oh, cool. Yes.
Yeah, Snoopy goes outside, but he only goes outside with me. And he sort of directs where we go, though. I just have to pick him up and carry him back to the house if he gets too far.
Was it easy leash training him? Because I hear some people really struggle while other cats are totally okay with it.
I had to put the harness on him when he was a kitten,
Yeah.
when he was very young, to get him used to it. But no, I think he realizes this is the only way he's getting outside, so he agrees to the leash.
Yeah, that
I
makes
think.
sense.
So we have a couple questions. Bella asks, do most Canadians let their pet cats in or let them out, or do they keep them in?
Yeah, most cats in Canada are indoor cats. And so a lot of these numbers for predation rates and stuff are typically feral cats because, yes, in Canada, thankfully, our number of outdoor cats are pretty low. Everybody is typically keeping their pet cat inside.
I have someone asking, oh, you mentioned your brother's cat earlier. Is your brother's outside cat neutered? If so, is he ear tipped to denote he's fixed? I've never heard of ear tipping.
Yeah, so I think ear tipping, from what I've heard, is for like a lot of feral cat colonies to show that they're neutered, not for owned cats. So he doesn't have an ear tip in him, but he is neutered.
Okay. Oh, someone asks, Leanne asks, how long can cats live?
Oh, that's a good question. So that also kind of depends on the lifestyle that they're doing. So we're seeing that indoor cats typically live a little bit longer and can live as long as, 12 to 15 years on average, where fully outdoor cats tend to have a shorter lifespan, about 2 to 5 years. And indoor outdoor cats kind of fall somewhere in the middle, depending on if they're spending more time outside than inside, sort of.
Well, Snoopy turned 10 back in February, so I'm hoping he goes for the record. I want him with me for a very long
Let's
time.
hope.
What are some threats to cats in rural areas? So I guess on farms and in the country and things like that.
Yeah. So that's something that I'm hoping to see on the cameras as well. We haven't looked at all the footage. We're collecting so much of it, but I'm going to assume coyotes would probably be the biggest risk for rural cats. And the city cats, it's probably going to be cars. But I can also imagine that disease spread would be a big threat for just all cats that are out there, especially because they can be getting stuff from wildlife or just drinking pond water or anything like that.
Oh, Alec T shared a fact with everybody. He said, my neighbor's cat is 22 this year.
Wow, that's an
Wow.
old cat. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
I hope he's active and healthy and happy at 22. That would be
Yeah, I hope he's
that would
doing
be
well.
fun. Um, Can you train cats? Someone has asked. So I guess not just to a leash, but I guess they're asking, can you train them like you would a dog?
Definitely different than a dog, but I would say yes, you absolutely can train a cat. It's probably easier, of course, to start when they're really young, if and especially if you're talking about something like leash training. I'm sure it'd be pretty hard for, yeah, an indoor cat that doesn't really care to go outside to suddenly be trained to go on a leash. But I think anything's possible. And it probably also depends on your cat. If you know personally your cat is highly food motivated, then those are going to be the cats that are going to be really easy to train.
Yeah, for the record, my vet says that Snoopy is quite possibly the most food motivated cat he's ever met.
Yeah,
So
see, there you go. Those are the easy ones to train.
Snoopy is highly trainable. I'm pretty sure he could split the atom if he thought there was a can of tuna in it for him.
Well,
Oh,
there you
we've
go.
we've got another question. Do you find that cats that do go out are mostly fixed or not? And are the collars for the outside cats and those in your study wearing breakaway collars, which are advised so they don't gravely injure the cat? So I'm
Yes.
not sure what a breakaway collar is. Can you?
Yeah, so breakaway collars are a really good safety feature to have. I recommend it for all outdoor cats, and it is what we use in our research. It just tugs with a little bit of pressure, and the collar releases right away. And so that was really important for our study. We didn't want any cats going out with their regular collar if it wasn't a breakaway collar. And so we just had all of the cameras put on a collar that we tested ourselves. So we knew that it would break away. And we did lose a few cameras every now and then because they were falling off, but that's why we have the GPS to go track them. And I'm sorry, what was the first part of the question?
Oh, so do you find that cats that do go out are mostly fixed or not?
Right. So, yeah, most of owned cats these days are fixed. And in our study, we actually only found one cat that wasn't fixed. Our entire sample size that got the cameras, they they were all fixed. I was just talking from our pool of it was almost 500 people that wanted to participate. There was, yeah, maybe only one or two that weren't, which is pretty crazy. I'm sure a lot of feral cats that have never been owned, barn cats, stuff like that, where they don't have that owner to bring them to a vet and do that. I'm sure the numbers are a lot higher, but I don't know what those numbers are.
Were they all in Guelph, the cats in
Yeah,
your
we
study?
did Guelph, Kitchener, Cambridge area.
Okay. Someone else had a question here. Oh, what do you know what the biggest cat is? Like what the biggest kind
Um,
of cat, I guess, is what they're asking. I don't think they
Maybe a
mean
Maine
lions.
Coon. I would guess a Maine Coon. They're pretty big, but no, I don't actually know that off the top of my head, the biggest cat breed. Does anybody
Um,
else know in the
I
audience?
I had heard about Scottish wild cats. I thought maybe they were the
Well,
biggest
and
ones.
do they count as an owned cat? A
Oh, I guess
Scottish
not.
wild cat
Maybe
is.
not. Oh, someone says Norwegian forest cats are the biggest cats. In fact, two people said that, so we have confirmation.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I'm
quite
gonna have to Google
possibly
that later.
Norwegian forest cats. Somebody asks, are you a vet? And if you are, um, what can I do if I want to be a vet too?
So I am not a vet. I did work in a veterinary clinic, but now I'm a researcher. I say if you want to be a vet, just work hard in school and make sure you take some time to volunteer and get internships working with animals. That way, you know what kind of animal you want to work with. So maybe spend some time at a farm, a wildlife center. And if you're old enough to work in a vet clinic, then apply. And even if you start as a secretary, then you can always do other things, from filing cabinets to holding dogs. And then you just work your way up, and that experience will help you get into vet school.
Thank you. I'm sorry I'm wearing a mask, by the way, friends. I've got people working right next to me, so we're just being extra careful.
Yes, no worries at all.
Yeah. Someone asks, do you know why cats meow?
Meowing is just a form of communication. So I would assume they meow just like when we talk. They just want to express something. So whether that's because they're hungry, they're trying to call for attention, they want cuddles, they want to come inside if they're an outdoor cat, well, they'll meow, you know?
Yeah, that's what Snoopy does. He usually only meows when he wants something. Otherwise, he's pretty quiet.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone wants to know what makes a cat purr? What makes the sound?
So purring is also another form of communication, except it's to show like a good sign. It's like a loving form of communication. I guess it would almost be like us laughing, you know, it's just this instinctual form of communication that just happens to us when something good is happening.
Someone asks, what is this? Do cats and dogs really hate each other? Because I have a cat and dog who get along very well.
No, cats and dogs don't hate each other. The media definitely portrays cats in a lot of a negative light, where dogs we typically see in that golden good boy light. And so they often get pinned against each other, but they're just animals and they're both just as loving if you give them a chance. And they might fight at first, but most animals that don't really know each other that you're putting together in a room might have conflict at first. You know, you might not be comfortable in a room with a stranger, but if you get to know them, then you can be the best of pals. And that's the same for a cat and dog.
I have a funny story. My very
Yeah,
first
let's hear
cat,
it.
my very first cat, her name was Pumpkin, and she was a very tiny cat. And our neighbor had a Bouvier dog, which is like kind of the biggest kind of dog you can possibly get. And this dog got a little too close, and Pumpkin swatted him once on the nose. And from then on, they were best friends.
Oh my God.
So they got along just fine after that.
I love that.
Okay, so thank you, friends, for joining us. Last chance for questions if anyone wants to type one in for our guest, Marlee from the University of Guelph, before we wrap things up. Going once, going twice. Oh, someone says thank you for a nice presentation.
Oh, well,
So
thank
we
you guys for listening. It was a lot
we
of fun
will
being here.
yeah, we'll wrap things up there. Sorry for the rocky start, everyone. Technical difficulties, but
Yeah, sorry, everyone.
I know I had a lot of fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed the talk too. Um, Marlee Payot from the University of Guelph. Thank you very much, everybody. Let's give her a big hand.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, so this will be up on our streaming service on YouTube for the next bit. If you're just tuning in and you missed the beginning. And thank you for logging on, everyone. See you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.